Um, I'm kind, energetic, nice dude, man. My name King, you know it, and your mama know it. On game what? On game what? Come here, come here.
This flashy young star is now staring down a sentence that ripped the mask off his rap persona. Behind all the chains and luxury, he was running something closer to a street empire. And that empire came crashing down harder than anyone thought. The real story of what dragged him under is way darker than the gossip, and we're about to break it all down. King Harris, son of T.Y., went from the spotlight of riches to drowning in legal drama, family clashes, and street heat. This ain't just another spoiled kid story. It's about how chasing real can spiral into something deadly fast. The street's been buzzing with wild rumors, whispers about King getting jumped in jail, sitting on decade-long sentences, even worse. But forget the lies. We're separating what's real from the fantasy because King's truth is already insane without all the extra noise. October 14th, 2024. That's the date everything flipped for him. He was cruising through Dunwoody, Georgia, probably feeling untouchable, when boom, he almost smashed into a police cruiser pulling out of a gas station. The cop pulled him over for failing to yield, smelled weed, and spotted a gun on his hip.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
But here's the twist. This wasn't no setup or dirty play. King didn't fight back, didn't wild out. He was calm, caught red-handed, and just rolled with it. But things took a crazy turn when the officer ran his name. That's when it came out. King had a bench warrant hanging over him from way back in August 2022, 2 years old and still haunting him. Charges for speeding, driving with a suspended license, and even driving under the influence of drugs. He thought he could skip court and let the streets forget about it. But that's not how the game works. The law don't forget, especially when you're moving sloppy. And then came the heat. Police said the car reeked of marijuana. Plus they found a piece on his hip and 2 small baggies of weed in the car. We all know traffic stops like this can explode fast, but King stayed chill. No flex, no drama. The officer simply removed the weapon and bagged the evidence without a fight. They cuffed him up, and just like that, it was over. No fake tough guy act, no wild scene, just King getting scooped clean. But here's the thing. This ain't just another spoiled kid catching a charge. King's been on a mission to prove he's more than just T.I.'s son living soft off daddy's empire. For a while now, he's been claiming the streets, talking heavy about how he stands on business, trying to show he's really built for that life. He's even said he spent serious time with his grandmother in a rough Atlanta neighborhood, pushing the image that he knows real struggle outside the mansion walls. But this is where it gets messy, his family drama. While King was sitting in DeKalb County Jail, waiting on that transfer to Pickens, his own mom, Tiny Harris, hopped on live stream and went in on him. She called him out, saying he ain't got good sense and that he ain't got all his marbles. Imagine that. Your own mama clowning you in front of the world while you locked up.
I smell some weed in the car, so our procedure is we gotta check it. Is there anything else that I need to be aware of?
Man, I don't want y'all to check the car.
I can't hear you.
I don't want y'all to search the car.
Well, I understand that, but if I smell weed, that's probable cause to search the vehicle.
You're not gonna find nothing. You're gonna find my guns.
Just multiple guns?
I got a stick, an AR.
That's cold. And yet Tiny didn't stop there. She defended him too. She reminded folks that King don't bother nobody unless they push him first. That's that protective mama instinct, but also her way of hinting that he's been moving reckless and inviting problems that didn't need to exist. Then came the twist. King was suddenly released. The bench warrant got recalled, and before anybody could process it, he popped up online grinning, saying, "I'm a free man. I'm not locked up." Just like that, he was back outside. But the chaos didn't end, because by then, the internet had already exploded. Blogs were running wild stories about him getting 5 years, about him getting jumped in jail, even rumors of T.I. begging judges for mercy. It was all clickbait. No receipts, no credible sources, just viral lies feeding the fire. Bottom line, King walked free, but the damage? Already done. His name stayed trending. His image took another hit, and it showed just how much pressure he's under. Trapped between the privileged world his parents built and the gritty street image he's desperate to prove is real.
And in fact, like a lot of people, I feel like you gotta start putting out the good, like, not that, I feel like you so chill, you don't care about putting out the good.
Critics been tearing him down, calling him a soft wannabe gangster, saying he's just spinning fake street stories for clout. That cuts deep when you're grinding to make a name in rap. And instead of respect, you're being labeled as an actor in your own life. But King's arrest opened up more than just tabloid chatter. It pulled focus on the tension inside his own family. Even T.I. himself stepped in, saying about his son, if he keep that up, his ass going to prison. That's heavy coming from a father who already walked that same dark road. He knows what it's like to be chewed up by the system, and watching his son flirt with the same fate, that's pain mixed with warning. Still, T.I.'s role isn't simple. He's juggling a lot, trying to stand as a supportive dad while also holding his son accountable, all while the public watches every move. And remember, when T.I. was young and reckless, he didn't have the internet blasting his mistakes worldwide in real time. King's slip-ups don't just echo in Atlanta, they trend everywhere. So when T.I. warned prison was next, it wasn't just tough love, it was prophecy. He knows no amount of privilege, fame, or high-priced lawyers can save King forever if he keeps stacking cases. The streets and the system don't care who your daddy is once things go too far. And the timing couldn't have been worse. King's arrest landed right when he was hustling to prove himself as a real artist and stepping into fatherhood. He was expecting his first child with Johnny and Nana Epps, a moment that should have marked growth and responsibility. Instead, he got chained up in legal chaos that overshadowed what should have been his biggest transition yet. It's a story hip-hop knows too well. Young men torn between proving street credibility and stepping up for their families, only to risk losing both.
I don't wish it on him, you know what I'm saying? I don't wish it on him. And I love him through it. Whatever he going through, I love him through it. Much criticism as I receive about my son, I would like to shed light on the fact.
King's arrest could have been a redemption arc, but instead, it flipped into another cautionary tale about choices that drag you down instead of lifting you up. This whole saga isn't just about mugshots and courtrooms, it's about how a kid born into Atlanta royalty got so obsessed with proving he was street that he lost sight of everything else. The psychology, the pressure, the pain. It's the curse of hip-hop royalty. King Harris came into the world August 25, 2004, as Clifford King Joseph Harris III, born into money, fame, and legacy. Raised under the bright lights of a family that lived entertainment, King grew up on TV, VH1's T.I., and Tiny. The family hustle had him in the public eye from 2011 to 2017, molding him in front of millions before he even knew who he was. Picture this. While other kids were stressing about homework and video games, King had cameras in his face, the whole world watching him grow up on TV. Millions of eyes, every move recorded, every word magnified. That kind of spotlight can twist your mind when you're still trying to figure out who you even are. And here's the crazy part. Despite the fame, the money, and the mansions, King kept saying he spent time in the trenches. He talked about staying with his grandmother in rough Atlanta neighborhoods, trying to feel what he called real life, beyond the luxury. Some people say that's fake, but look closer. He wasn't just flexing. This was a kid trying to connect with his roots, to understand the grind his pops came from before the Grammys, before Hollywood, before all the cameras. His music dreams lit up early too. He started rapping young, influenced heavy by his dad's legacy, even calling himself Kid Saiyan, inspired by Dragon Ball. Anime vibes mixed with Southern trap. That was his lane. He dropped songs, built his following, and tried carving his own spot in a rap game that judged him off his last name before he even touched a mic. But then came the love story that flipped everything. Enter Jania Nana Epps, a young Atlanta woman who caught King's heart and gave him something real to ride for. By mid-2024, their relationship went public when rumors spread she was pregnant. And this wasn't no staged industry couple stunt. This was real love, real commitment, and big-time responsibility. In August 2024, T.I. himself went on Atlanta's Hot 107.9, confirming King was expecting a son. Imagine that, your dad going live on the radio, blasting your personal business to the whole city. That's the reality of being hip-hop royalty. Your private life is everybody's entertainment. October 2024, the couple threw a baby shower theme for a boy, and by November, Little King Jr. arrived. A whole new chapter, fatherhood. But just when it looked like King might settle down, the story swerved wild. In January 2025, King went viral after dropping a bombshell on Instagram. His girl lets him step out with other women, as long as he keeps it quiet and doesn't catch feelings. He even described it as being able to cheat in peace. That confession lit the internet on fire. Some called it a real grown-up understanding. Others said it was straight-up disrespect. Either way, it had everybody talking, and once again, King Harris was trending for all the wrong reasons. Every relationship got its own rules, and if King and Nana cool with theirs, that's their business. But don't get it twisted. His life ain't been all baby showers and sweet moments. This young blood got a fiery side, and some of his beefs prove just how hot-headed he can get. The biggest family blow-up? November 26th, 2023, Atlanta Falcons game. King went live on Instagram mid-argument with T.I. and Tiny about whether he really grew up with a silver spoon. Broadcasting your family drama to the world, that's chaos at its finest. Then came February 2024, when he clashed with comedian Drusky. Drusky cracked jokes about King's viral phrase, "stand on business," something any comedian would do. But King wasn't laughing. He snapped on IG Live, calling Drusky fat and even threatening to beat him down. He said, "You fat out of shape, I'll beat the fuck out of you." That rant was ugly. Not just the threats, but the body shaming too. Drusky's job is to joke on public figures, but King took it personal and came back swinging wild. Instead of flexing maturity or hitting back with wit, he exposed insecurity and immaturity, showing he wasn't ready to handle criticism in the public eye. The beef eventually died out, probably because someone close told him to chill, or maybe T.I. and Tiny stepped in. Either way, it showed a dangerous pattern. When King gets heated, he doesn't think long-term. He reacts, then deals with the fallout after the damage is already done. And we can't forget the infamous Waffle House saga from May 2022. King pulled up hungry, but when an employee refused service after a mix-up, he went off. He recorded himself blasting staff, yelling over a sandwich gone wrong. The crime? Pickles. He swore he asked for no pickles, but when he opened the sandwich, not only were they sitting right on top, but he claimed it looked like somebody poured water on it and even massaged it. He was disgusted and dragged the employees on video for the whole internet to see. Now everybody knows Waffle House drama is legendary when you're tired and starving, but King's reaction was way over the top. These incidents together paint a clear picture. He's a young man stuck between identities, struggling with ego, respect, and how to carry himself under the spotlight. King got everything most people only dream of: money, connections, endless opportunities. But on the flip side, he feels like he gotta prove himself every second. He wants to show he ain't soft, that he can earn real respect in the streets, even though he was born into privilege. That tug-of-war between comfort and credibility has been eating him up. Psychologists even got a name for it: Affluenza. Not that weak legal excuse, but the mindset. It hits kids from wealthy families who wrestle with guilt, identity, and purpose because they've never truly struggled. They feel the weight of privilege, but also crave the grit that comes from surviving hardship. For King, that meant chasing struggle where it didn't exist, picking fights, flexing street energy, forcing authenticity he thought people demanded from him. But for those who really lived through danger, poverty, and survival, his efforts came off fake, like cosplay instead of credibility. His parents? That's a whole other battle. T.I. built his empire through discipline, real street scars, and lessons from the system. He's always said he raises his kids with those same values, but King? He pushes back hard. He wants to make his own mistakes, even if that means embarrassing the family name in front of the world. And that generational clash runs deeper in hip-hop than anywhere else. The culture worships authenticity, struggle, and survival. T.I. earned his respect dodging bullets, ducking cases, and clawing out of poverty. But how do you pass that kind of raw authenticity down to a son who's never known real hunger or fear? That's the paradox of hip-hop royalty. By March 2025, though, it looked like the ice was finally breaking. King reflected on the feud and said they were starting to see eye to eye, comparing his bond with T.I. to the father-son dynamic on Power, Ghost between Tariq and his pops. That's growth, stepping back, analyzing the pain, and finally working to heal those family wounds. But now comes the wildest part: how the culture reacted to all this King Harris drama. And trust, it wasn't light. The response ranged from supportive to savage, uplifting to ruthless. Social media became the courtroom, and the hip-hop community had to decide whether King was one of their own, or just another pretender stumbling in the spotlight. So what does all this really mean for King's future in the rap game? The internet never misses, and King Harris's legal drama turned into an instant feeding frenzy online. Twitter lit up with a mix of roasting and reality checks, and the verdict was brutal. Plenty of users clowned his attempts to play tough while coming from a mansion lifestyle. Comments flew like, "Kid wanna be a street dude so bad," and "Bro was born to a millionaire father but wanna be a felon so bad." Cold words, but they hit because the irony is loud. He's got every advantage most people pray for, yet he's chasing a path straight into destruction. The memes? Ruthless. Pictures comparing King to garlic knots flooded timelines with captions like, "Bro looking like a garlic knot," or "The garlic knot strikes again," often paired with gifs of T.I. looking stressed out. The internet had no mercy. But it wasn't all jokes. Some voices cut deeper, pointing to something more serious. One user wrote, "This boy been screaming for help for years and nobody around him cares enough. And now he got a baby on the way too? My God." That hit different, reminding people that beneath the privilege, this might just be a young man crying out for guidance while juggling fatherhood way too early. Reddit dragged him just as hard, but with longer breakdowns. Many labeled him the textbook Nepo baby, gone wrong. Someone born in the suburbs, trying to cosplay gang culture. They weren't buying the street image at all. For them, it was about authenticity, and King's version didn't pass the test. Meanwhile, the hip-hop community's reaction was more complicated. Most big-name artists stayed quiet, not trying to stir up family business or pile on while he was already down bad. But that silence speaks volumes too, because if King was really respected, people would have rushed to defend him or pull him aside with real guidance. The absence of that support told its own story. And then comes the career question. How does all this mess affect his music? At just 21, King's still grinding to carve out a lane under the name Kid Sion. He dropped projects like his 2025 EP Be Ready, pulling from trap energy and personal stories. But here's the catch. Legal drama blocks opportunities. Touring, collabs, label interest. All of that gets shaky when you're tied up with cases, probation, or restrictions. From a business angle, labels and promoters see him as high risk. Why invest in an artist who might miss shows, get locked up, or spark headlines for the wrong reasons? On top of that, the perception of him as a troubled Nepo baby, leaning on his father's legacy, already turns people off. In an industry that values both image and authenticity, that's a dangerous combo. But don't get it twisted. King still got advantages most young rappers could only wish for. His family ties are a safety net, with T.I. pushing his music whenever he can. Having a Grammy-winning father with deep industry connections is a cheat code that most up-and-comers would kill for. And let's be real, sometimes controversy can boost an artist's profile if they know how to flip it into fuel. But the arrest also added fuel to an image that's been following King for years. In August 2025, body cam footage from the traffic stop surfaced, confirming the weed and gun details, but not leading to any new charges. The problem? That video killed the hope some fans had that King might finally be turning things around. Instead of growth, it looked like the same old story on repeat. His stand-on-business persona has been a double-edged sword too. On one side, it pulls in young fans who respect that raw energy. But on the flip side, the minute his actions don't match his words, critics drag him for being fake. When you've got privilege stamped on your name, every slip-up looks like performance instead of reality. And the damage to his brand? Real. King built his online image on being tough, being authentic, being about that life. But when all people see is court dates, family feuds, and viral beefs, it stops looking like credibility and starts looking like chaos. That makes fans skeptical and sponsors nervous. Streaming numbers and engagement can dip quick when platforms see you as a liability instead of an asset. But here's where it flips. Fatherhood might actually save him. The birth of his son in November 2024 seems to have shifted his mindset, and T.I. has publicly backed him in that transition. Fans eat up redemption stories. They love seeing young artists grow, mature, and step into responsibility. If King can turn his mistakes into music and show growth, all this drama might be remembered as his messy origin story instead of his downfall. And the bigger picture? King's saga shines light on a trend across hip-hop. Second-generation rappers trying to find their lane. From Lil Wayne's son to Master P's kids, and now King Harris, the children of legends carry both privilege and pressure. They're judged harder, doubted more, and often dragged as Nepo babies who didn't earn their stripes. For King, this isn't just personal. It sparks a wider industry conversation about authenticity. Will labels keep chasing star kids for their names, or will they start prioritizing artists with real stories that audiences believe? Either way, King Harris is now the face of that debate, whether he likes it or not. And here's the kicker. One of the biggest lessons from this saga is how fast lies spread online. Wild trial rumors, fake 5-year sentences, and made-up jail beatings were blasted all over YouTube channels and gossip blogs, stories that never happened, but still got thousands of people believing and reposting. That kind of clickbait can destroy reputations and twist how the rap world judges accountability. The family angle hits just as hard. T.I.'s way of handling this, mixing tough love with steady support, mirrors a bigger conversation in hip-hop, how fathers who survived the streets raise kids who never had to. Imagine being a rap legend trying to steer your son away from the same traps you barely escaped, while he's out here trying to prove himself in that very world. That's generational pressure on a whole other level. Long-term though, King might actually flip this chaos into something positive. Hip-hop has always loved a redemption arc. Fans root for artists who crash, learn, and come back stronger. By early 2025, King and T.I. seem to find middle ground, both owning up to past mistakes. That maturity could shape King's music into something deeper and win back respect. Social media reactions showed just how invested people are in his fate. Some critics sounded harsh, but their words came from a place of wanting better for him, wanting him to use his privilege wisely instead of chasing fake credibility. Others, they straight up enjoyed watching him stumble. Seeing a kid born with everything fumble, it all gave them a twisted satisfaction. But make no mistake, King Harris is bigger than just his own drama. He represents the clash between privilege and authenticity in hip-hop. The heavyweight second-generation artists carry, and the ruthless way social media shapes narratives. And the silence from established rappers? That spoke volumes too. When nobody steps in to guide you, when fans roast instead of uplift, and when blogs push lies over truth, that says a lot about how the culture treats its young bloods. Still, King's only 21. He's got a son now. His bond with his father is on the mend, and he still has the chance to flip his story. He could turn his pain into powerful music, step up as an example of growth, and prove he's more than just a cautionary tale. But the choice is his. Will he keep chasing street points through reckless decisions, or channel all this into authentic artistry people respect? One thing's certain, the culture is watching every move, every lyric, every post, every misstep will be judged under the microscope of fame. That's the cost of growing up with a last name that screams hip-hop royalty. So now we want to hear from you. What do you think about King Harris's situation and his future? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe, share this video, and we'll catch you on the next one.